They told us this one was a meme stock miracle. They told us that a 50-year-old big box chain selling towels and shower curtains was actually a turnaround story, a cult stock. The next GameStop with a comeback arc nobody on Wall Street could see. At its peak, it was a $12 billion a year retailer. 1,400 stores. The single most recognized coupon in American retail. By 2021, Reddit traders had crowned it the next short squeeze and pushed the equity up more than 10 times in 6 months. The bondholders saw something different. They saw a balance sheet running on a coupon, a blue coupon. 20% off anything in the store, mailed to every suburban household in America for 30 years, the single most recognized piece of paper in American retail outside of currency. By the time the rest of the market caught up, the coupon was still arriving in mailboxes. It just no longer bought anything anyone wanted. This is the story of how Bed Bath & Beyond turned a 50-year brand promise into a meme stock scam, sold the inventory to fund the buyback, and left the senior unsecured note holders to fight over the receipts. Bed Bath & Beyond opened its first store in 1971 in Springfield, New Jersey. The original insight was almost embarrassingly simple. You stack the merchandise floor to ceiling. You give people every brand and every variant they could possibly want. You let them wander. It looked chaotic to the trained retail eye. It felt like a treasure hunt to the customer. And in 1985, the founders made the move that would define the company for the next 4 decades. They started mailing a 20% off coupon to anyone who would accept one. The coupon had no expiration date. It could be applied to almost anything. It became a habit. It became a household ritual. By the early 2000s, the company was opening more than 100 stores a year, and the coupon was the reason. Customers walked in with the coupon because they had it. They walked out with 3 things they did not come for. The business model was the brand promise, selection plus discount. The coupon was the receipt the customer kept until they used it. The bondholders, when they eventually started lending to the company, were lending against that habit. Success masks a lot of problems. By 2018, the company had 1,400 stores. Annual revenue had peaked at over $12 billion a couple of years earlier, and was already starting to slip. The market value had once cleared the $8 billion mark. The treasure hunt model had outlasted Linens and Things, outlasted dozens of mall-based home goods chains, and survived the first wave of online competition. The coupon had survived too. Customers still kept them in drawers, in glove compartments, in the side pocket of a purse. Some people kept stacks of them. A coupon you forgot to use was not a coupon you threw away. It was a coupon you saved. Wedding registries ran through the store. New parents walked the bye-bye baby aisle for car seats and cribs. Empty nesters came in for the towels. The store was a way station for almost every American transition. The cultural ubiquity was real, and it was almost impossible to value. How do you put a price on a habit? The activist investors who showed up in 2019 looked at all of this and made a perfectly reasonable observation. The stock had fallen 60% over the previous decade. Margins were compressing. Online competition was eating into traffic. The store layout, the same chaotic stacked-to-the-ceiling assortment that had built the brand, suddenly looked dated next to the curated minimalism of West Elm and Williams-Sonoma. The activists demanded a new strategy and a new chief executive. The board agreed. They hired Mark Tritton, the merchandising chief at Target, the man who had built the private label playbook at one of the most admired retailers in America. The plan was to do at Bed Bath what he had done at Target. Replace the national brands with house brands, capture the margin, modernize the assortment. The market loved it. The coupon was about to meet the strategy. If you are still watching this, you are exactly who this channel is for. Bondholder is new. We are building it from scratch, telling the stories of corporate collapse from the perspective of the people who saw it coming first. The creditors. If that is the kind of story you want more of, hit subscribe. You do not just stay in the loop for the next bondholder fight. You help us keep making these. Thank you. But the coupon was a promise written against the inventory, and management had quietly stopped buying the inventory. The strategy went live in October 2020. Management announced that more than 10 new owned brands would launch within 18 months. 3 labels arrived almost immediately: Wild Sage, Haven, Studio 3B, Bear Home. Names that meant nothing to anyone outside the merchandising team that had invented them. To fund the shelf space, the company began removing national brands, the pots and pans the customer recognized, the bedding the customer trusted, the small appliances the customer had walked in to buy. By the spring of 2022, almost a third of the in-store assortment had been replaced with house brands. The coupon was still going out in the mail. It was still good for 20% off anything in the store. The problem was that the things in the store were no longer the things the customer wanted. Traffic dropped. Comparable sales fell 25% in a single quarter. A retail consultancy estimated the inventory mismatch cost the company $500 million in a single year. The mechanism was simple. The coupon worked because it discounted brands the customer already wanted. The moment the brands disappeared, the coupon was a discount on a product the customer did not recognize, did not trust, and would not have bought at full price either. A discount on a stranger is not a discount. It is a stranger. By June of 2022, the board fired Tritton. The damage was already done. Then the second mechanism kicked in. While the merchandising strategy was failing on the shelves, the company was running an aggressive share buyback program funded partly by the cash generated when the pandemic temporarily lifted home goods demand. Management bought back stock. The board approved it. Analysts cheered it. The buyback was sold to investors as a vote of confidence in the turnaround. In hindsight, it was the opposite. It was the cash that should have been held against the convertible note maturity coming in 2024. It was the cash that should have been deployed against the inventory rebuild. It was sold to fund the buyback that the brand could no longer afford. By the time Ryan Cohen disclosed a 9.8% stake through his fund in March 2022, the company was structurally insolvent. The math was already finished. Cohen treated it as a meme stock play, an attempt to turn the brand into the next GameStop, the next AMC, an asymmetric retail trade powered by Reddit and option volume. The equity ran. It went from $5 to $30 in 3 months on a thesis that had no operational backing. The bonds did not move. They could not move. They were trading on the math, and the math was already finished. The senior unsecured notes told the truer story months before the press release did. The company had 3 layered tranches of unsecured paper, roughly $215 million of 3.749% notes due 2024, roughly $210 million of 4.915% notes due 2034, and roughly $605 million of 5.165% notes due 2044. The 2024 maturity was the wall. The 2024 notes were the ones that mattered, because that was the maturity the company had no realistic path to refinance. As early as the summer of 2022, those notes were trading in the low 30s. The 2044 notes, the long-dated paper, were trading at less than 20 cents on the dollar. The credit market had marked the company for dead while the equity was still being pumped on social media. By October 2022, the company opened a distressed exchange. By November, bondholders agreed to swap $155 million of principal for 14.5 million shares of common stock. It was a haircut. It was also an admission. The bondholders had done what bondholders do at the end. They had taken the equity because the cash was already gone. The collapse compounded fast. In January 2023, the company filed a going concern warning. In February, it raised $360 million through a complex preferred stock and warrant structure that diluted existing equity holders further. The market took the dilution as a bridge to bankruptcy, not a path away from it. In March, it warned again. The bonds slipped further. The 2024 notes, the wall, were trading in the high teens. On April 23, 2023, the company filed for Chapter 11 in the District of New Jersey. The filing listed assets of $4.4 billion and liabilities of $5.2 billion. 6th Street Specialty Lending provided $240 million in debtor-in-possession financing, of which $40 million was new money, and $200 million was a roll-up of the existing FILO term loan. The capital structure was simple at that point. The senior debt was already inside the building. The unsecured paper was on the outside, watching. 360 Bed Bath stores were still open the day of the filing. 120 buyback baby stores were still open. They were already being marked down for liquidation. 2 months later, Overstock.com bought the Bed Bath name and digital assets for $21.5 million. Dream On Me Industries bought the buyback baby intellectual properties for $15 million. The 50-year brand was sold for less than the cost of a single quarter of advertising at its peak. It was an arrogant strategy executed at exactly the wrong moment, and the bondholders had been pricing it accurately for nearly a year. They sold the brand to fund the buyback that the brand could no longer afford. This is what happens when a retailer mistakes a discount for a moat. The coupon was never the business. The coupon was the marketing budget for a business that delivered selection and trust. Strip the selection and trust away, and the coupon is just paper. The same pattern played out at Linens and Things in 2008, at Sears for a longer and slower decline, at Tuesday Morning at the budget end of the same category, and at JCPenney, when Ron Johnson removed the discount circulars in 2012 and lost 40% of the company's revenue in a single year. The lesson keeps arriving, and it keeps not being learned. Discount habit alone does not survive an assortment change. The customer is loyal to the products. The coupon is just the receipt. The discount on a stranger is not a discount, and the moment the brands behind the discount stop being recognizable, the discount stops being valuable too. In the restructuring business, there is an old line about distressed retail. The shelves will tell you what the income statement will not. By the time the shelves were full of house brands nobody had asked for, the income statement was already a record of what used to be. The blue coupon kept arriving in the mail. It was discounting a store that no longer existed. The senior unsecured note holders saw a recovery range of 0 to 2.5 cents on the dollar in the confirmed plan of liquidation. In practice, most of the unsecured paper was wiped. The debtor-in-possession lenders and the pre-petition FILO term loan lenders, sitting higher in the capital structure, recovered between 8% and 100%, and between 42% and 100% respectively, depending on which assets were ultimately liquidated and at what price. The common shareholders, the meme stockholders, the Reddit traders who had bid the ticker as high as $30 on a turnaround thesis, but thought the bonds had already disproved, received zero. The $270 million of equity market capitalization on the day before the bankruptcy filing was a complete loss. The asymmetry was the entire story. The bondholders had taken the equity in a distressed exchange 6 months before the filing because they had read the math. The equity holders had bid the stock up to $30 in the same 6 months because they had read the meme. One group got out with a haircut. The other group got nothing at all. The stores are gone. The buyback baby aisle is gone. The wedding registry is gone. The brand was sold to an online liquidator that uses it now to sell other people's furniture. The coupon still arrives in the mail. There is just nothing left to spend it on.